I'm a lazy man. This is awesome.
We've got it just for you. All right, James, thank you once again. Everyone hear me okay? Take a snooze, right? Back rows, can you hear okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, welcome once again to the Super Megafest, James. I had the pleasure of interviewing you a few years ago. It was a lot of fun. Your interaction with the audience was one of the highlights of the year, let me tell you. Everyone raved on it.
Right on. I love to talk about myself, so this is good.
It's good subject matter. And I remember you had a nice Q&A session both days, and then it was punctuated by a wonderful concert we gave. Really wonderful acoustic concert. Just you and the guitar up on the stage. That was a real treat.
Yeah, we're going to do that again tonight. And American Airlines was kind enough to break my guitar. And so I have taped it together with tobacco patches, and we're going to see how that goes.
When did you get in?
Was that?
Was it last night?
I came in on Thursday, so I was here for a little while. Yeah.
All right. So a couple of things I'd like to ask you, then we can take questions from the audience. First of all, I wanted to know what you were working on currently.
Currently, I'm working with a genius named McLean. McLean, where are you, man? Oh, I'm working with McLean. And when we get to questions from the audience, we have a few prizes. And I just wanted to bring McLean up because we're going to talk about a project we just did. But McLean, no, just a second. And so we are working. Can I say? Yeah, we're working on the very beginnings of a Macbeth adaptation, and McLean can. That's all I can say. This movie just dropped on iTunes. And you can get it all around in Walmart and stuff. This is an awesome movie, and we're going to give away the first two questions. The first two people who ask a question, because you always have to be brave to ask the first question. Well, we know who the first one is. So we have two of these to give away, and we'll talk about the movie in just a second. We've got those. My band is going back into the studio for our fourth album. It's going to be a double album because we have too many songs.
Ghost of the Robot?
Yes. Yes, and what else is going on right now?
Well, what else is going on is I feel a disturbance in the force.
I think.
I don't know why. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Wow, what's this?
Oh no. Oh, it's Jedi, thank God. Hello.
This is unexpected.
Some of you might know James Marsters actually did this character in August. Some people may know James Marsters also did Captain Pharaoh Argus in the Clone Wars. Did voice actor for us. And in recognition of your contribution to the Star Wars universe, the Rebel Legion would like to induct you as an honorary member. Now, our sister organization, the 501st, caught here in New England back in, I think it was 2009. And this is one of our challenge points. We've got the first one and a lot of this in the back.
Can I have that for a second? Love. Hello. Hello. Have a good one.
Makes you wonder what a traditional knighting ceremony would be like with a lightsaber. Now, James, that brings to mind, they just mentioned you did some voice work with, what is it, Clone Wars? But your connection with Star Wars goes way back. I recall, did your dad have some connection with Lucas? And you had a great experience as a youth?
Yeah, my dad, I got invited to the very first public showing of Star Wars in the universe. Like, 9 months before the movie came out, I was living with my dad in Marin County, and Lucas lived in this town next to me. And so he invited all the drama nerds in Marin County to come watch the movie. And so we went to the North Point Theater in San Francisco, and like nothing happened. And we were there for like an hour and a half, and there's nothing happened. And we almost left, and finally George Lucas came down, and he said, "I'm sorry to make everybody wait, but we just finished editing the film in the projection booth. I hope you like it." And I liked it. And afterwards we gave I think it was a 15-minute standing ovation to the film. And apparently, I read this in a Star Wars book, that this was the first time that Lucas and Kurtz and everybody thought that the film was actually going to work. Because it was the first time that the special effects were put in, and they'd been showing it to people around Hollywood without the special effects, and everyone was telling them that they were insane. And that, George, I don't know, your other movies were so good, what's happened to you? And it was the first time, they were literally up in the booth jumping up and down going, "We're not crazy!"
Now, is that the cut of the film that was shown theatrically?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, he says the musical cues weren't all in, and some of the special effects were still getting tweaked. But to my memory, I was 13 years old, but I don't think it really changed that much yet.
Nice. That's a real treat for a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, okay, here's the embarrassing part. So then, I thought it was my movie. Like, 9 months I'm trying to explain it to everybody, and they think that I'm crazy. There's droids, it's crazy. And then the movie comes out, it's a big hit, and one of my best friends was next door neighbors to George Lucas. And I decided to write him a letter after it became a big hit. And in the letter I said, "Okay, George, this is an amazing movie. You're using old myth and you're making it modern, and everyone's freaking out about how good it is. Congratulations, but these are not your stories. You did not invent these archetypes, and they're not for just kids. So whatever you do, don't sell too many toys based on Star Wars, because you'll convince the audience that it's just for kids, and it's not. It's for everybody." The thing I didn't know is that Lucas didn't get paid anything for Star Wars, so he could have 100% of the merchandising rights. And the reason he's a billionaire today is all the toys. And the toys are what funded the rest of the movies, right? And so he wrote me back and said, "You're wrong. Well, man, you're wrong, but there'll be good toys, don't you worry." And I have all the toys now.
I don't know about you out there in the audience, but we would like to see James have a little role in episode 8, I guess. And 9. You gotta work on that. Work on the force. You got the
They actually
contact.
called me in for Anakin. Yeah, they called me. I'm like 34 years old. I'm sitting in the office. I'm like, "You do know I'm not 18. I just want you to know that. I'm not gonna be honest." They're like, "Yeah, it's just George likes showing Buffy. He just wanted to know you."
Any chance for something though? Any of the upcoming films or offshoot films?
Sure, I'm live.
That's all right. Thank goodness. All right. Just another thing before I turn it over to the audience. Something I stumbled across, the Dresden Files. I like the premise behind that. Really a lot. Now, I just wanted your take on it, involved in the show. How much you enjoyed that?
Yeah, they're extremely well-written books. I always tell people it's kind of like across. How many people know it already? Have Dresden Files? Okay, all right. So there's like 17 books so far. They are kind of a cross between, like, say, Harry Potter and Sam Spade. Like if Humphrey Bogart were to play Harry Potter, if you can imagine. So they're like film noir, very gritty, but also really snarky and very inventive. And if you if you read one of the books, you probably have to read them all because they're really addictive.
Get hooked right away. All right, let's see, who's going to be the first?
Well, yeah, I like to tell everybody that you guys can ask me anything that you want. I am shameless. If you want to try to embarrass me, it has never been done, but give me your worst. And so, the first two people, can I call McLean up to the stage? McLean is the director of this film, Dudes and Dragons. Hello?
Hi. Oh, it's working. How you guys doing? Yeah, these Dudes and Dragons, who's seen it? There's some people in here that were part of our Kickstarter. We've got some Kickstarter producers. Those of you who have not seen it, you will not want to miss it. James is absolutely spectacular in this movie. Amazing. Tonight at the Best Western Plaza Hotel, some of you are staying there tonight, at 11 p.m. after the Rocky Horror Show, we're showing the screening of this movie. Your pass to get in here today gets you to that for free. And I'll be there. I'm the writer, director, actor, and that's me in the blonde wig. I'll be doing a Q&A for that even late into the night. We have these for sale in a booth right on the way to James's thing, and you'll see me bugging people all day because we got to let people know about how great this movie is.
I've seen it with an audience twice, and it's house laughter. House laughter is when everybody laughs at the same time. House laughter, the whole movie. It is really surprisingly fun.
It's Lord of the Rings meets The Princess Bride, so that's to describe it. And I'm going to give him 2 more to give away, so that'll be 4 lucky people get them. And then we're selling them over there for only $10. Can you believe that? It's insane. All right. Thanks, James.
Okay, so we got 4. You are the bravest one, sir. So do we have a microphone for the audience? Right on. What's up?
Hey.
Put that right up to your lips like a rock star, man.
How was it to work in Smallville?
How long?
How was it?
Oh, it was fabulous. Smallville surprised me because I went up there and the cast is so pretty. Like, unfairly gorgeous people. And in my experience, nothing against really pretty people, but when you're really gorgeous, the world comes to you all your life, and you don't have to really develop the social skills that normal people normally have. So really pretty people can sometimes a little bit hard to get to know. Those people, every single one of them were the nicest people in the world. And Tom Welling is very much like his character on Smallville. He's patient, he's kind, he's strong, he's a natural born leader, but he will tell you the naughtiest jokes. Just to prove, like, I'm not really Clark Kent, you know, I'm like a guy, you know. And I remember asking him, like, Tom, don't tell me these jokes before lunch, because you just sear my imagination. It just gets into my head, you know, before lunch, and they're really horrible images. And he's like, oh, James, I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt you. And so right after that, he would be like, 4:30 in the morning, I'm sipping my morning coffee. He's in behind me telling these jokes. And I look around, and he's always alone. And he's like, oh, James, I hope you didn't hear that. I was telling this to Joe, and he had to go to work. I hope you didn't hear it. I don't want to hurt you. Yeah, it was good. It was very good. Enjoy the movie. You really like it. Okay, number 2, my man. Malay.
Who do you think Negan killed? Who do you think Negan killed?
Who did Negan kill?
No Walking Dead?
I'm a gamer, man. I'm sorry. When you're addicted to video games, it's just no time. Oh, I'm sorry. I did work with the lead on Walking Dead, Lincoln, Andrew Lincoln. We played astronauts together, and he's actually English, and he was doing an American accent because he's playing a NASA astronaut, and I'm like, there's something about the accent that's kind of like sticking. I'm like, what is that? And I finally figured it out. He was doing a very subtle Christopher Walken impersonation. Are you doing Christopher Walken for your astronaut? And he's like, oh no, you caught me. It's supposed to be an in joke. Oh no. He's a really good guy. Yeah. Who didn't Negan kill? Okay. And over house that. Enjoy the movie. Did you get a copy? All right. Oh. Thank you, man. Was I underutilized in Hawaii 5-0? Yes. No. It was my fault. This is me. This is what ego will do to a human being. This is how ego will mess you up every time. So we're doing the pilot, and the character is written with an English accent. So I've got an English accent ready, and but the character's name is Victor Hess. So I'm talking to the producer, and we're about to shoot the first scene, and I'm like, you know, that's a weird name for an Englishman, Victor Hess. It sounds German. And he's like, well, actually, that's a lie. That's not his real name, because he's like a criminal, you know? But he could be from anywhere. In fact, you know, what accents can you do, James? Let's talk about it. And this is where ego comes in. I said, I can do any accent that you would hire me for. So, like, don't ask me to do Korean, but anything that I could look like, I'm from theater, man. Do anything. And so he immediately says Belfast. Belfast, Irish Belfast, which is the hardest Caucasian accent in the world. It's impossible. You have to study months for it. Now, I should have said, oops, no, not that one. But the ego got me and said, oh yeah, I can do that. And the accent just didn't cut it. And speaking of Walking Dead, dude who played Norman was playing my brother in Hawaii 5-0. He just has a short scene in the helicopter, and he dies, which makes me, you know, shoot McGarrett's dad in the face. His accent was great, because he'd already done Boondock Saints, so he had it in the can already, and that's how you do the accent. But if I could have just held my ego and said, I can't do that accent, let's just stick with English, they probably would have kept me longer, but the accent didn't fly, so, yeah. It's my fault. Enjoy the movie, man.
Do you want me to? I don't mind.
Be the bad guy.
Let's see.
Right here. Does it work? Okay. I got 2 quick questions. One,
How are you, Ben?
right here.
Hello, beautiful.
Hi. Okay, one funny question and one serious question. So how was it to kiss John Barrowman?
Do you want the real answer, or do you want the answer that you want?
Real answer.
What?
Real answer.
I don't know what it's like to kiss John.
Really?
Yeah. Well, okay, this is the real answer,
Okay.
and it's not sexy. Kissing for film is a very technical process.
Okay.
When you kiss for passion, your face goes like this. And, you know, film is a visual medium, so you're trying to build an image that will convey something, you know. So, the other thing is that when you're, when you're doing an overshot, which is like the camera's behind you on the face of the other actor, and they just have a bit, you know, bit of your ear or your shoulder or whatever, your whole job is to act with that person convincingly, but you don't want to ruin their shot. So you don't want to move around a lot, and you don't want to get in their light, and it becomes very technical. And the closer you get to the other person, the easier it is to ruin their shot. And so when you're kissing someone, you can ruin their light like that. So you're really going in, like, and cut. No, James, just 2 millimeters to the left, please. Okay. So, I don't know. Like, we got it, and I think we convincingly did it.
Yes, definitely.
I'll kiss him again. I love the man. I mean, the truth is, like, love scenes and stuff for me are not that comfortable to shoot, because when you're being paid to perform a sexual act, what is your job description? Really? You know? So, for me, it comes down to, do you trust the person so that they can help you through a difficult day? And I would trust John with my life. In fact, I did during that fight scene. I think the stunts got in for 2 shots on that fight after we kissed each other. And so I would trust him with my life. So I'd probably, whether sexy in the John than anybody else.
I was just gonna ask you if you read the Buffy comics.
I've read some of them, but not all of them because I'm a gamer. I play the Buffy game, make another one.
All right, thank
Beat
you.
that twice.
You have written something in Dark Horse Comics?
Yeah, I wrote Into the Light with that cover. It's a story where Spike loses the fight with the villain, finds a girl, loses the girl, but it has a happy ending anyway. It's funny that cover. I think that Spike is best when he's a underdog. Like, I don't think he's best when he's like Mr. Hero guy. I think he's best when he's getting his butt kicked. And they asked me, what do you want for the cover? Do you want a big chain or a sword? Do you want to be flaming guy? I said, no, I want to be in the hands of the villain getting my butt handed to me. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I'm interested. I love Buffy. I'm a Buffy geek. I love Spike. I wanted to know who you like to play better, Spike or William the Bloody and why?
Well, it's the same person.
Well, it is, but beginning, he's a giant wimp, I guess, to be nice.
Yeah.
And then later, he's totally badass, so I'm just curious.
You know, I like both of them for different ways. I mean, like, my imagination, if I imagine things for my character, it usually goes toward making me cool, which is much less interesting than what Joss is thinking of. And I always thought, well, Spike is such a badass. Of course he was that way before he was a vampire. He was always that way. And Joss was like, no. It turns out that Spike is the biggest poser in the world. He's just getting away with it because he's a vampire. And that's a very interesting idea. And so I was actually really uncomfortable when I got that script and we found out that Spike was a wimp poet. I was like, what? But I decided that I was going to be the one to defend him. I was going to protect him, and I was going to have the audience understand him. And I was very lucky because the actress that shot that scene with me, that played Cecilia, was the character Cecily, and she was mean to me on the, the character was mean to me, but the person shooting the scene was truly supportive and nice and wonderful. And I'm very lucky that I got such a good actor to play with. Yeah.
Hi, I have two parts to my question. The first part is, we all came here to meet people that we really geek out on. Is there something that you would really freak out if you could meet a celebrity? And could you answer it in Spike's British accent?
No, I don't do that anymore. I've moved on with my life. It's been a long time. I grew up. I liked Star Trek. I thought it was a great series. I was doing fan conventions when I was 13 years old. I had a blue tunic, a pointed ears, I had a tricorder, I had a phaser I made myself, and big blonde afro. And I was beautiful for the first time in my life. So when I met Leonard Nimoy, I couldn't speak. Just, blah, 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 like that. So yeah, my big fanboy moment was meeting Spock. In fact, I used to say to the cast of Buffy, if we play our cards right, we could be the new Star Trek, And if we do that, I claim Spock. I am Spock. Spike, Spock, Spock, Spike, same thing.
This kind of goes along with someone else's question. I know you don't read all the Buffy comics, but I know you've written for them before. Are you going to be doing more of that?
Yes. In fact, David Fury, who was one of the original Buffy writers, I got him to write comics. So he and I are working on a story together right now. David helped write Lost and 24 and stuff. He's a great writer, and he and I are working together.
To keep going with the Spike theme, I know for a while there you had there was a plan for a spin-off, either a series or a film. No chance for that, no?
In fact, the comic comic book is the story that was going to be the TV movie for Spike. Yeah, there are these people called the Kazuis who produced the first film, and they're the first people to believe in Joss's idea. And so, thank you. But they ruined the first film. They don't get it. And Joss they have the rights to all the characters of Buffy in perpetuity to the end of time, to the end of the universe. It literally says that in the contract. And so they have the rights to Spike. They have the rights to everybody. And Joss got them to kind of just take money but be quiet for the television series. But now we've tried to do other projects, but every time we start, the Kazuis come in and they actually are so excited. They're really nice people. But they get excited, they want to come in and have creative input, and Joss is always like, nope! Sorry to shout, but yeah. So it always blows up. Yeah.
How long did it take you to put on the Spike vampire?
Makeup?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, man, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. The only person to win an award, an Emmy for Buffy was the makeup artist, Todd McIntosh. And basically, all it really was like a Robin mask, but bumpy. And then the rest of it was just paint. And we did it so often that we cut it, they started at about 45 minutes, and over the years it went down to 20. But we always lied and told production that it was 30 minutes, because if you tell them 30, then they start pressuring you for 25, 22, 20, because they're always in a rush. And Todd would get into fights, man. He'd be like, get out of my trailer, production, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't want to do that, so we lied. But most of the time it would get done in 20 minutes and we talk for 10.
Hi, I loved you on Supernatural. I have two questions. Number one, is there any chance of you coming back on Supernatural? And what was it like to really work with Jared and Jensen?
It was such a pleasure to work with those two guys. They are absolutely unaffected by fame, which is really rare. Usually, with the best person, the best you can hope for, if you get worldwide fame, is about 2 years where you go crazy. And then most people kind of come back from that, and their feet come back to the ground, and they get normal again. Some people never get normal again, and God help them. But Jared and Jensen never had to go through that. They never really became unmoored. And consequently, the set is a really happy place. It's like summer camp. Everybody is just like, they all know it's a dream job because the two leads are just happy to be there. And so I just had a blast the whole time. I would love to go back on. In fact, Jared and Jensen, they were wanting me to be a series regular. So they were pressuring the producers, but I guess the producers didn't want to do that. But I'm not dead, so yeah, I'll do that again. Yeah.
So I have a two-part question. Hi. So A, how was it to play Lord Piccolo in Dragon Ball Evolution? I don't care. I'm a total geek for Dragon Ball Z, and I loved you in that movie. I was so excited when I found out it was you. Like, it made the whole movie better.
Thank you. I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan too. Like, I've seen every episode of Dragon Ball Z, every episode of Dragon Ball GT.
I even got my daughter into it.
It's really good. It helped me raise my son. Because I think that Dragon Ball is a really good, it's a meditation for me anyway, about manhood. Which is to say that a real man is like the lead of Dragon Ball, Goku. He's goofy, he's peaceful, he's a good dad.
But don't mess with him and don't mess with his family.
Exactly. He'll chase butterflies with his kids if you let him, but if you attack his family, you are dead.
Yeah.
That's it. So, a man is a peacekeeper, and he will only resort to violence when absolutely necessary. And then you have the other character in the beginning, Vegeta, who's the short guy, and he is a metaphor for an overgrown boy who...
Trying to play a man.
Exactly. He is creating chaos to prove himself against, because he doesn't know that he's already a man, so he's constantly creating a mess. And I've met 35-year-old men like that, you know? I think we all have. And so I think it's a really cool piece. So they told me that it was a $120 million picture and that Stephen Chow was producing. Stephen Chow did Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer, which if you've never seen those movies, go get them. They're fabulous. They're goofy, they're violent, they're loving, they're everything that Dragon Ball would need. So I go do the movie, and I get down to Durango, Mexico. It's a $30 million picture. Stephen Chow is only on paper to fool Chow Yun Fat and I to come down to the desert and film. And it was just foobar, man. Like, they didn't want to pay for anything. And I decided I was going to try my best anyway. I was going to do anything necessary. They didn't use a stuntman. They hired a stuntman, Danny Hernandez, to do Piccolo, but they didn't want to pay for his makeup. It was a 4-hour makeup process, so they just gave him this cheap pullover mask, which didn't look good, and so they couldn't use it. And you know, there was like wild gags, like jumping off a 30-foot cliff, like all this stuff, and I was just like, I'll do it. Let's do Dragon Ball, you know? I still have a separated clavicle because we just did too much, and it didn't work out.
So if on the off chance they ever did an actual real production, would you go back to play Piccolo, or would you want to play Goku instead?
Well, what I will say is I'm in talks with the people of Dragon Ball Z, and I am hoping to do that, and to do some voice work for Dragon Ball Z and get my redemption that way, because that's the real one.
How many more we got, Dana? What are we looking at?
Minutes. Okay. Guys, if we don't get to your questions, come to my table, ask me, and we'll talk.
Hello. What is your funniest story from playing Spike and the crew with Buffy? Like a backstage funny thing that happened?
Oh, you know, that's an uncomfortable question, because I was really boring. In between, like, they would make a movie of all the funny hijinks backstage. It's called a gag reel, and it's shown for the rap party each year. And I'm sure maybe you guys have seen these. I don't know if they're out yet. Okay, so I'm never in them. And I finally asked Josh. I was like, "What? You don't like me? Like what? You know? I'm never in these movies." And he said, "James, you're never in them because you're boring." For like 5 years straight, every time we say cut, you do exactly the same thing. You look down to make sure you're on your mark, you go to your chair, you pick up your script, and you study your lines. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do well. He goes, I mean, however, when I call action, you're like a panther that I let out of a cage. It's fabulous. But when I call cut, it's just, all you do is look at your lines. So, nothing. This is going to be the last. Do we have time? 2 more?
Let's see how long this will get. Maybe one more.
This will be really quick. Our fascination with monsters seems to go in waves. So during Buffy, we were all into vampires. Now with Walking Dead, we're into zombies. If Spike were walking around now, would he be irritated that the zombies were getting all the attention, or would he be like, cool, I can just hide out?
Yeah, I think that he would be fine that zombies were getting the attention. It would make for better hunting, because they're not looking for you in the shadows. They're looking for some zombies. I'm not a zombie, come on. One more.
Sorry, I have another supernatural question. I just want to know what it was like working with Charisma Carpenter again.
That was another great takeaway from doing Supernatural, was getting to know Charisma Carpenter, which I never bothered to do before, because she's such a good actor. And I really thought that she was her character on Buffy. I really thought she was horrible. And I just had no inclination to go get to know her at all. Like, there she is again. And the other thing is, like, her character was always running away from me. If we did shoot a scene together, we were on opposite sides of the stage and she was hiding. And so that was a wonderful experience. We got, on Supernatural, we just sat backstage and, waiting for the setups and we just talked. And she just likes to talk about her kids and so do I. And she's a really sweet person. And that was the takeaway. Yeah, I love her. She's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Marsters.
Thank you. I hope I meet you at my table, man. You guys are great.